Back-to-back blowout losses magnified by a 41-point rout at Miami Wednesday night. After the Miami loss, Reddick said his players did not play with intensity and lacked professionalism. Those two intangibles need to be seen today, otherwise the haters who couldn't believe Reddick got the job in the first place will start making noise again. Part of Reddick's job description as an NBA head coach is to make sure his players play with intensity and professionalism. It's time for Reddick to make that happen. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Aye. What? Look. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. Huh? They ain't talking about nothing. Aye. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. Huh? They ain't talking about nothing. Pickable, I just put them bookers in my chain. Pickable, 80 pointers like a Kobe game. Pickable, 7.62s, I make them plain. Pickable, popping out, you better not smell my name. Pickable, put 2 foreigns on the 405. Pickable, Kashi Pepper, if I'm doing pasta. Pickable, why you acting tough on IG Live? Pickable, you know my little off they rocker. Pickable, surprise, this that chicken cheese. Pickable, let me FaceTime my op. I'm with the street. Pickable, yes, AGs, I'm putting something to sleep. Pickable, he on the ground, I praise God and start stumping feet. Pickable,
800-920-1580. This is the spot, 800-920-1580. Let's talk about it. We always talk about something around here. The St. Louis Reparations Commission has released its report on racial injustices inflicted on Black Americans, specifically in the city of St. Louis. And they are making a list of recommendations, including cash payments, along with a public apology. This is what I call momentum. They worked 1.5 years on this report. They had 30 different listening sessions. This was put in place by, a Black mayor, Tashara Jones. Black woman elected mayor of St. Louis. And it's of note to me when I look at the City of LA Civil Rights Department reparations executive summary. Well, the leader of that department is Capri Maddox, an attorney, a Black woman. And who else is co-signing and supporting this reparations report? Marquise Harris Dawson of the 8th District, Kern Price of the 9th, and Heather Hutt of the 10th, all of our Black City Council members. Let's go to Fahima calling us from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Fahima.
Habarigani and K. Pasa Dominique, how are you doing today?
I'm blessed. What's on your mind?
Well, it's two things, and I'm sure that the doctor wasn't expert on everything, but he missed a couple of things. He said there hadn't been any movement since the 80s. There was Deidre Farmer Pullman, who's with Restitution Study. She filed a reparation lawsuit in 2001. And there was also Bob Brown's lawsuit that was followed that followed that, and actually I had provided technical assistance to Bob Brown. He was a confidant of the late Kwame Ture, and I sent you a listing of at least 9 lawsuits in fine law that were for reparations. So there has been movement prior to the.
Well, he was talking about within the government, as far as government initiatives. But yeah, I think it's also a really important point. And, you know, when we talk about people working outside of the government, those cases which some may not be familiar with, maybe you want to go into it a little bit, the work of Charles Ogletree, you know, who really, along with some other legal minds, tested out reparations in the legal system.
He and Johnny Cochran were part of NCOBRA's Legal Defense Committee, and they were working on litigation for reparations within COBRA prior to Johnny Cochran passing away and Ogletree coming down with dementia. But those cases and lawsuits, if you file a lawsuit, that's part of the that's part of the government. That's a government issue because if it's before the court is
right. But it doesn't come from the legislature. It's not.
Yes,
he was talking about lawmakers in the United States considering actual reparations. Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. But I just I sent you a listing of 9 lawsuits, and the most notable ones were Deidre Farmer Pullman's and Bob Brown's lawsuit for reparations. And that's all I wanted to share. Well,
you worked on Mr. Brown's, you said. What was that? Talk a little bit about it.
I provided him technical assistance in accessing archives. It was looking at insurance companies, universities, financial institutions, because it's not an either or. It's all of them. Yes, the federal governments, the local municipalities, but there were also insurance companies, universities, institutions of every that you couldn't imagine. And I keep reiterating, Ta-Nehisi Coates, the case for reparations, delineates all of the areas that we have been harmed. Yes, as we know that people had their properties taken away from them. People, in fact, in Louisiana, I recently found that there were young people who were held in prison and they were made to work and earn money that funded the public schools for white children in Louisiana. And I'm going to send that to you. I was horrified to learn that. So it's more than the federal government. It's the federal government, local municipalities, financial institutions, insurance companies, and universities, and a whole host of other institutions.
Yeah, I think that's right. And even with the state of the reparations movement today, where for the most part it's focusing on legislative solutions, because I think largely because of the being shut down in the courts, it doesn't mean that we won't move from government to private industry. We're already seeing some movement in the education institutions. And when you get to private corporations, insurance companies and banks and shipping companies and all these folks who profited massively off of the enslavement and subsequent exploitation of Black people, descendants of slaves.
Well, I'll end here, Dominique. The thing is that, as you well know, that earlier this year in April, the third meeting of the people of African descent met in Geneva, Switzerland. They will be meeting again in April of 2025. And many of the reparationists, even the California legislative, the California Reparations Commission, and folks from around the country and around the world actually were there. People are coming together because this movement was geared up after the UN Conference Against UN Conference Against Racism, and 2 things that came out of the Durban Declaration: that we are people of African descent, and that slavery was a crime against humanity. And around this globe, around the world, people come together under the People's Commission on Human Rights from of African descent from the UN, And then they go back to their respective communities and they work on this. And it is continuing. I know folks are working in their silos and they're focusing on what they're focusing on, but this is a global issue. And again, people are coming together and then going back and doing the work.
Yeah, I think it's a global issue, but I don't think we gain anything by belittling or downplaying those local efforts and really putting in.
Those local efforts are part of it.
Yeah, and it's all part of it, and it's part of a continuum. It didn't start.
Yes.
It didn't start with the activists in the '60s. It didn't start with the activists in the '80s. And this is one of the things I appreciated about Dr. Selassie's presentation. Yeah, in an hour we didn't get to everyone, but he took it back to 1778, and so we can see ourselves as part of a longer arc.
A continuum, and like I said, even Dr. Salis Muhammad was actually at the UN, and he's in Atlanta doing reparations work, and Kiki Taifa, Cam Howard, all of these folks. But there are some that are poo-pooing the larger global collective effort. But the work continues. You have commissions. I think you know about the commission that came up in Baltimore, because I think Travis actually had the doctor on, Ray Winbush, who I've been on panels with in the past. He's on the Baltimore Reparations Commission.
Right,
and
we've
so
talked about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the work is being
But see,
done.
here's the thing, Fahima. When you insist on, when you're not the only one, there's a division, and we know this. People who want to just emphasize the global, that we're all African, we're all the same, and people that want to get specific about the contributions of their ancestors or the specific situation. I think Dr. Selassie had a really key point when he said, when we just make it about slavery, and then you can say, yeah, well, this enslavement was global, and of course, it is a global issue, because Jamaicans obviously need to get their reparations, and so forth and so on, Brazilians and so forth and so on, and they're all coming from different exploiters, different colonizers. But I think when we jump over that and jump over the fact that it's not just enslavement, it's Jim Crow, which apartheid was based on. It is the subsequent harms. And some folks do that, just like you say, some poo-poo the global aspect of it, which I think is a mistake. But a lot of the Pan-Africanists poo-poo this idea that there is a very specific, story, history, and lineage here in the United States, and also that it's not just slavery, but the subsequent harms.
Actually, that is the case. In fact, there were some of the folks from the California Reparations Commission who are advocating for lineage-based reparations who were in Geneva. So there is no either or. And the people that are believing in us coming together and then people going back are not poo-pooing. And I don't think any of those people who believe in lineage-based reparations, who attended the meeting in Geneva, are downplaying the global effort, because they were there as well. But there are folks that are dismissing, and they're on some other stuff. I'll just put it that way. But as you mentioned, it's on a continuum, and this is happening. People are doing the work. They're coming together. They're strategizing, and then they're going back to their respective communities and doing the work. And those that, it's not just slavery. It is all of those things that we previously talked about.
Yeah, I also think that what I'm observing, since it's been over a year since we started this conversation every week. What I'm observing, I'm starting to see some movement, and yeah, there's infiltrators, there's ops, there's crazies in every movement. Seem to be particularly attracted to this one, but I think what I'm observing is movement where some of the Pan-Africanists are starting to acknowledge the importance of the specificity of lineage. Black is not generic. And that doesn't just apply to Africa. It also applies to the United States. And I'm starting to see some of the lineage folks acknowledging that we are part of a global family. And that doesn't erase the fact that we have specific stories and specific claims. And I think that's good. I think that represents progress.
It is not a new acknowledgement. And I had this conversation on the space. And Cobra never dismissed the fact that we here in America, whose ancestors were enslaved in America, were entitled to reparations. This is not a new position, but there are people that continue to distort the narrative. I was a co-chair of NCOBRA at Howard University, and I was involved in COBRA for nearly a decade. And people continue to distort the narrative. They're not coming to a new
I'm telling you what I hear on the mic on my show. I don't know what happened in Howard when you were there. I'm talking about what I see on social media and what I hear people doing on the mic on my show. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Well, people are saying people are have had positions that have not been true. They never were true, and they are not true at this time. And they're not just coming to the realization because they've been doing this work.
Well, you know what, Fahima, I deeply respect your analysis and your commitment and your knowledge. But some of those positions they've taken on the mic on this show. And it might be subtle, but it's definitely there on both of those positions that I've articulated. And I think we're making progress, but that's just my impression.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. And
always.
I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, that's what we do around here. 800-920-1580. They're complaining in the chat. If you're complaining, get on the mic. Otherwise, you'll just stay in cyberspace. We're talking not just reparations, but I think that's important, as you know. But whatever you got on your mind, 800-920-1580. It's wide open. We're in amnesty season. If you haven't called me, call me. If you have, call me. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you choose Gillette, you choose the best a man can get. Close and smooth shaves, award-winning beard care, and a gentle trim below the belt. And this November and December, every Gillette purchase supports Movember in the fight against prostate cancer. Choose Gillette and make a difference. Shave down and stand strong with the 1 in 8 men who will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Visit pggoodeveryday.com/Movember for details. Exclusions apply.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max, use for adults only.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, happy Friday. And 800-920-1580 is the number to call. Fahima called me on that line, and you can as well. By the way, the air quality in the studio is 33, which is a little bit higher than usual. but still in the safe range. Outdoors, though, in LA, it's 156 today. That means people with sensitivities or pre-existing conditions may want to do their workouts indoors, may want to just be careful. That's brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and powered by IQ Air. So, so many things that I already have learned this morning, and Fahima talked about the case of Deidre Farmer Palman, apparently somebody who has been involved in reparations struggles for many years. And Dr. Selassie was talking about part of reparations being the return of items, things stolen. And, you know, all of us, I mean, it was even in the movie, the Marvel movie, Black Panther, right, about the African artifacts in museums being returned because they were stolen during various plunders of mostly, you know, when we talk about Benin, we're talking about the British invasion of the Benin Kingdom, which I visited, Benin City in the Edo state of Nigeria. We drove forever to get to the middle of nowhere, in Nigeria, which was the center of ancient Africa, and which is full of these beautiful, beautiful works of art by ancient Africans. And those pieces are being returned. They call them the Benin bronzes. And this is repeated around the world in museums. And it's mostly African, but now some Indian and Chinese and other ancient artifacts are also being called back. Interesting that one of the lawsuits that Deidre Farman Palman and the Restitution Study Group filed was to stop the repatriation of some of these objects because they said there was a fiduciary duty owed to the descendants of enslaved people in this country, that people descending from those who were trafficked, that they had this right to fiduciary, at least a fiduciary due diligence, so that they would not be denied their right to their heritage and end up enriching the captors. There's so many angles and so many aspects to this, and you know, I'm happy to learn more about them. I was not aware, I don't know if you were, of the UK Slave Compensation Act of 1837, where slave owners in Britain were compensated for the loss of their property, i.e. our ancestors. I knew of this happening in Haiti, was not aware of it happening in the UK. And you know, these are just some of the reasons why we like to do Freedmen Fridays. We are talking about American freedmen, but we can talk about it in the global context. I don't have a problem with that. I think I'm getting... I'm feeling like I keep saying this. If you have an inheritance, if your mother is African and your father is African American, or vice versa, and one owns a farm in Ghana and the other owns a farm in North Carolina, wouldn't you want them both? Why should you have to choose? I have ancestors in Africa, and if I have a birthright, an inheritance from the motherland, I want that. I have ancestors from South Carolina. I went back for a family reunion over the holiday. And if I have an inheritance that's owed to me, or a debt that's owed to me from that side, from that branch of the family tree, I also want that. I don't think we have to choose. And I do think there is a tendency, and by the way, I consider myself a lineage-based Pan-African. And it's not because I'm trying to be all things to all people. No, not at all. I believe we are part of the diaspora. It is a global movement. It is, there are shared, there's shared DNA. Let's start there. Not to mention many times shared interests between people of African descent throughout the world. But I also believe that in respecting the specificity of my ancestors' stories, right? And to that end, I want to see more African Americans cast as African American characters. I want to see more light and love given to African Americans in our struggles and our contributions to this country and the world. Jazz, blues, rock and roll, hip hop. To name a few. Let's go to Anthony calling from North Carolina. We're just 2 minutes away from news, traffic, and sports, Anthony, but we certainly can continue on the other side. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. As far as the reparation, I feel like the white supremacy is global, and we got to take it down on every angle. Like Medusa, everybody got to grab a snake. And the political way, that's a good way. That's one way of doing it. But I called one time before actually this question, and we got side rails because me and you went at it one time. But what about? I feel like each nation, each country, especially Africans, we should be able to commerce and trade with African countries back and forth, whether it's a cargo ship or whatever.
We do.
To start. Okay, is it on a global? Is it on a? It's not well known if it is.
It's not as widespread as how you would like it to be. Right. You want it to be more widespread, right?
Yeah, because Africa has the most resources in any other country there is. You know, if you think about it, whether we're going to do necessities like stuff for tissues or tires that everybody has to use or medicine, all that can come from Africa, and we should be the first ones. Same way if it was pineapples grown in Colombia. A Colombia-based family should control that on that end.
Right. You know what?
On the American end.
We don't disagree on that. Here's the thing. Africa doesn't have a huge manufacturing sector right now. So what happens is these Western nations just take the resources, for pennies and leave those African nations with no money, even though they're taking their expensive resources and exploiting them. So I think what you're saying is right. I don't disagree with you, but we've got a few steps, to get there. I mean, I know Black-owned companies that import and export coffee from Africa. I know Black-owned businesses that are doing jewelry and clothing, import and export, and different kinds of enterprises on the motherland and vice versa. But if you're talking about the level you're talking about, there's going to need to be some foundational change. I'll get your comments on that after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Northern California may feel aftershocks after an earthquake hit offshore near the California-Oregon state line. The quake prompted a tsunami warning, which has since expired. Investigators have released clear images of the suspect in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Mayor Eric Adams expects an arrest soon. Lawmakers are questioning the Secret Service about the July 13th assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. 1 person was killed and Trump and 2 others were wounded. Acting Director Ronald Rose stated that disciplinary actions are ongoing. And a new study in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry links lead in gasoline to mental health disorders. It examined blood lead levels in children from 1940 to 2015, finding 151 million excess mental health disorders due to lead exposure from car exhaust. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, owner at Blindster.com. And right now, we're offering up to 50% off all our custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters during our Cyber Week sale. Don't miss out on some incredible deals. But hurry, sale ends December 10th. Blindster.com.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There's a good chance today we will learn a lot about the Lakers and what type of season they will have. We also might learn their first-time coach J.J. Redick is in over his head trying to coach the Lakers without any previous coaching experience. The Lakers are in Atlanta today to wrap up a 4-game road trip. A lot of folks will be tuning in to see if the Lakers have the mental toughness to overcome back-to-back blowout losses, magnified by a 41-point rout at Miami Wednesday night. After the Miami loss, Reddick said his players did not play with intensity and lacked professionalism. Those two intangibles need to be seen today, otherwise the haters who couldn't believe Reddick got the job in the first place will start making noise again. Part of Reddick's job description as an NBA head coach is to make sure his players play with intensity and professionalism. It's time for Reddick to make that happen. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. The Equinox EV and all-new Equinox, America's best compact SUV for new vehicle quality by J.D. Power, offer both confidence and style to see you through the holiday season. It's easy to see why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Award based on 2024 models. For J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment is 26.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/2/25.
An official message from Medicare. Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
All right. So we got open phones. We're talking about anything and everything. There's so many stories I want to get you guys caught up on that we haven't gotten to because Well, life is just kind of busy right now. But Anthony called. We were continuing to follow up on our Freedman Friday with the reparations conversation. And Anthony, you're saying that you want to see global trade and that would benefit both Africans and African Americans. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you said earlier that Africa don't have that many manufacturing companies or factories or whatever, though. But that's a void that we have in America. We got so many factories that shut down because we don't have nothing to manufacture. Why is it that?
Because we're outsourcing it to China for cheaper labor and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Okay, but where are the natural resources coming from to build this stuff? China don't have the land to get the natural resources to make products.
I mean, they have a lot of land, but you're right. They're exploiting Africa too. It's not just the European countries and the United States.
Yeah.
That's why China is building highways and, in Senegal, they've built a theater, beautiful theater downtown, a giant statue of a black man, woman, and child, all these things, and roads and sewage systems. Are they doing it because they're kind and generous, or are they doing it because they're the new colonizers?
It's a new colonizer, but it's not the way that the Europeans do. It's not brutal. It's that way, though. But all manufacturing companies get a lot of their resources from Africa. Why aren't we doing that same process? Well, we should control that. I said earlier, if we get our pineapples from Colombia, a family of Colombians should control the prices or whatever of pineapple on that end, and a family of Colombians should control on this end in America, and that way both families eat and nobody is poor. But the way it's going now, a certain race controls the trade market where it comes from and the prices from every country to make sure that country stays poor and the people from that country in America stays poor. But we ain't got to let that keep happening. I just feel like, why is, okay, Africa, even America, we feed China and give China a lot of number too.
Yeah,
I'm a driver.
just like California feeds the United States.
Okay,
for
now
the most part.
What product, Dominique, and please school me, what product or does Britain, England, France, all them European countries that control the market, what product are they producing to the world that we need? None. All they doing is controlling.
Well, they have, but they have manufacturing, so they take the raw materials from Africa and they make, BMWs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then they sell it back.
Yeah.
And they exploit those countries and get those resources for ridiculously low prices. And I think all of this goes back to what we were talking about what Paul Lee said at the beginning of the show, which is really comes down to class warfare in a certain sense. Because, you can say it's mostly white folks, but who controls those resources are huge corporations.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
The Colombian family. If there's a Colombian family controlling it, they're probably working for a multinational corporation.
Yeah, but if you follow the money, that money always going to end up somewhere near the European countries.
Yeah.
If you follow the bank, but see, and I love what you're doing, Dominique. And one time I said about the media, we don't control the media, and the media is a big part. And you say, yeah, I'm the media, but what I meant was those 3 or 4 free channels like CBS, NBC, whatever.
Yep.
They have the biggest influence on our people to the point where I don't know what's worse right now. I don't know if Jim Crow is worse or the mentality of our people right now is worse. Because if our mentality was worse, we could change everything.
Wow, Anthony. I mean, it's a fair question, though. I mean, because we are in the disinformation age. Can I ask you a question now? You don't ask me 3 or 4. Okay, so a friend of mine pulled me to the side today, early this morning, and said that that we need to have more space for Republicans, or really Republicans, to be part of the conversation. And we've talked about this before. We had a whole poll in the chat. And I just want to make the distinction, by the way, when I ask you this question. We were talking about trolls, people who call in and say the same things over and over again, who gaslight and, say misinformation. But now I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about anybody that's just a Republican who sees things differently. Do we need to make more space for those folks? Because I do feel like it's FAFO season, and I do feel like people are already having voters' remorse. I believe in policy over party. Do you think that I'm not sure if you consider yourself independent, Republican. I think you were
independent.
Independent. Do you think that we need to leave more room for Republicans on this show?
Yeah, because not all Republicans are the same. Not all are the same. I mean, it's certain things that caught their eye. I don't care. I mean, some people are just like you, except for the part about abortion. Some people are just like you, except for the part about immigration or whatever. But the fight, that's kind of like divide and conquer to me. This Democrat, Republican, how both sides going to say we for this country, but whenever one side is in power and they got good ideas for the country, are we going to cross our arms and say no? They not both sides are not for the country; they're for their own power, and that's the whole part: divide and conquer. We need to get the good people on both sides together. And honestly, what happened this election, Dominique? I know you don't want to hear, but a lot of brothers, because brothers are not political, Democrat or Republican. We'll stay independent and we'll stay there. But the Democratic Party lost a lot of black brothers this time, and they're going to the independent party. That might be a party for you.
Look, let me tell you something, Anthony. I don't have a problem with people going to an independent party. I had a problem with people supporting the 45th president. That's my problem. I don't have a problem with you going independent. Judicially affirmed says I need to make more space for Frederick Douglass conservatives. Well, I'm not here for conservative ideology, but I make space for everybody. When I talk about O'Reilly and those guys, I'm not saying that's a good thing. They won't let you on their show if you're progressive or revolutionary or not in their little cult. But I do, and I always want to make space for people. It doesn't mean I have to agree with you, but you're welcome in. 800-920-1580.
Thanks,
Anthony. I'm giving you the last word here.
Okay, last word, because this woman where I'm getting unloaded at in South Carolina. You better come on. We leave at 12 o'clock. Dominique,
come on. Don't make him late. Oh, sorry.
Nah, but I believe the independent party is the new movement because, as you say, Dominique, you know so much information that if you ever play devil's advocate on your show, I mean, you make crazy ratings because you know the dirt on both sides.
I always play people's advocate. I don't want to advocate for the devil, but I take your point.
But yeah, you know both sides so much that it's hard to understand why you are a Democrat.
Well, I consider myself the far progressive left wing of the Democratic Party. I do not agree with them on everything. I am not a corporate Democrat. And if we had if Cornel West and Dr. Melina Abdullah were able to, because I know they had a meeting yesterday, are able to build the Justice for All Party into a formidable entity, or as some have suggested, put those third-party organizations up in local races and state races. We mean, build from there. I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that. Thank you, Anthony. Don't be late. I appreciate you calling in and staying with us. Agree, disagree, or whatever we're doing around here. It's always love, no disrespect. Not too late to call me. In fact, it's the perfect time. But if you don't call me, I got a few things to share. Man, there is so much going on. And some of them are actually victories. KBLA Talk 1580.
More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Medicare open enrollment is here, and it's a time you can make changes to your health coverage. Yet, watch out for enrollment and marketing scams. Remember, Medicare will neither call you nor solicit your business. Guard your card. Never give out your Medicare number to strangers. Unsolicited calls, door-to-door visits, and emails are prohibited. Take your time. Don't feel pressured to make a quick decision. Report scams to our California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Hey, LA, it's time to step up and be a climate change hero. Go Metro and help us shape a better future for all Angelinos. From enhancing our diverse communities to preserving our planet, Metro is dedicated to making a positive impact with every ride. Start your journey at metro.net.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
As I said, it's the perfect time to call me before we get out the door on a Friday. And don't forget to tap in on social media. I'm at KBLA 1580 on every platform. We are at KBLA. I'm at DiPrima Radio. My personal is DIPRIMA and then radio. I'm on every platform, including Blue Sky. I'm gonna try the fan base and Spotify and Spill this weekend. But right now I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and Instagram, which happens to be my favorite. So I guess a judge just ruled against Twitter, speaking of Twitter, meaning that they are going to be held to that order that they either sell Twitter or that they either sell it or they shut down U.S. operations. And I hate to say this, but this may be the one thing you Twitter folks can count on the 45th president to do. He's definitely not going to shut down TikTok because he's decided that he likes TikTok. But what's interesting to me, scary, and hopefully Elon Musk has got his fill of buying social media platforms, because certainly in the configuration we're in right now, with TikTok looking at a ban because they lost in court, Wow, it says they'll ban the app by January 19th if ByteDance doesn't sell it to a non-Chinese company. I thought this was going to take much more time. I thought they would have appeals and that this would take years. But no, apparently not. They're saying January 19th, a panel of 3 judges denied their petition to overturn that law. And the New York Times is saying it could be a death blow for the app because this is one of its biggest markets. I don't think so. I think one of the billionaires' boys club that supported the 45th president, that is, maybe the LA Times owner will buy it. Maybe, the owner of Palantir will buy it. I think one of these billionaire boys clubs persons will buy it. We know the former Treasury Secretary under Trump was looking at it, and they will use it as yet another propaganda platform. That's what I think. But we shall see. What we know is that because China may decide, no, we don't want to sell it, even though their headquarters is in Singapore, it's Chinese owned. Okay. Anyway, so we know that they may dig in their heels and say, look, we don't want to sell this thing. And then it would go away really soon. I feel like I just got on TikTok. Doggone it. Oh, well, we shall see. We'll track that for you. Damani from LA, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. I'm glad to hear from you. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. What's on your mind?
I was wondering, I heard John Dean on a Cabot show yesterday, and it reminded him Nixon. When Republicans turned against Nixon, he resigned. And I'm thinking, I've seen a lot of Democrats now turning against Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering why Democrats and Republicans are not asking for Joe Biden to resign.
Republicans don't want him to resign because, there's nothing in it for them. Dems won't do it. I think Dems are just high-siding right now. I think they're just, trying to score points for their own reelection and election bids by beating up on Biden because he lost. He had to step down. His approval ratings are low. And he's a lame duck, so he's probably not going to retaliate against them. I think it's all just profiling and high-siding. I don't think they will. I know where you're going with this. I know you want him to appoint Kamala Harris or be forced out so Kamala Harris could be the president for whatever it is now, 40 days or 45 days or whatever we have left. I don't hate it. I don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, my position is that I think that would be the best thing that could happen. Now that he has lost so much support among Democrats, and Republicans never supported him, and all of them been talking about he did the wrong thing, that he's a hypocrite, that he said he wasn't going to do this. They didn't look at the changes that took place and the reasons why. They don't care about the reasons. I think this is a good time for him to resign.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Biden, he's now talking about doing preemptive pardons, pardoning people who have been critical of the president-elect who are already in his administration in order to save them from retribution once the 45th president and the new Confederate Republicans take office. I wouldn't mind getting one of those. Can I get a preemptive pardon?
I can understand that.
I don't think it's going to happen, Damani. I'm not against it, but I feel like I don't understand why, if he is going to stand in office for another 40 days, he doesn't start making some real radical moves. How about preemptive pardons for all of Black America? How about that?
Well, I think that if he resigned and turned it over to Kamala, that she would be in a position to make a lot of radical moves. I think he's too much.
But she wouldn't. She wouldn't, because she would have to stand for re-election. Even if she was, well, she wouldn't have to, but she probably would want to. If she became president for 40 days, assuming we could make that happen, and she's going to want to serve a full term, if she makes any radical moves, that will end up being used against her in any future campaign.
Well, she's not. I don't think that would hurt her re-election chances. I think that if she made radical moves, and since we are talking about progressives, I think that would add to her resume.
Yeah. Well, for you or for me, and for other progressives, I believe it would. But for the so-called Liz Cheney voter and the centrist voters that Democrats insist on endlessly chasing, I think it would kill her bid, especially as a black woman. But keep hope alive. I mean, I'm here for it. If you can get Biden to do it, I'm with it. Byron Allen stays suing people. This is one of the things I consider good news. He's got a $10 billion discrimination lawsuit against McDonald's. And the judge has ruled that it can go to trial. What he's suing is that saying that they violated his rights because they put his network's spots into low-tier ads. And I love the way, I love the way Byron Allen stays in court trying to hold cable outlets, corporate America, now McDonald's accountable. He says that they have text messages, racist text messages that were sent to Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, blaming Black and Latino kids for their own deaths. Go Byron Allen. I mean, whether win or lose, he gets the conversations going. Certainly we're at just about at the end of the show. So some of the other victories that we've notched up, we'll talk about next week, because I really want to spend time celebrating our victories. And I really want to, talk about the campaigns and the important things that are going on beyond Washington. Glenn Foster Jr., a judge just ruled that the civil case can proceed. Glenn Foster Jr., a former pro football player that was killed by police in New Orleans. And as we approach a Super Bowl, Black Lives Matter grassroots and the family of Glenn Foster Jr. are calling for the NFL to support justice for Glenn Foster Jr. The Saints and the organization, the NFL, support justice for one of their own, former NFL player Glenn Foster Jr. Again, these are just some of the victories, and we're going to keep that conversation going. Also, Messy Monday returns on Monday, so we're going to be back on our relationship grind in time for cuffing season. The best of Tavis Smiley is up next, and as usual, he's got some incredible highlights from the week that was. I'm going with Jim Brown again. He says, success is a journey and not a destination. That's my quote. Let's stay on the journey. All right, let's play the long game, okay? Like my mama, the late, great Diane DiPrima used to say, history is now. And like I always say, we're making it together. Until Monday, be safe, be informed, and stay locked right here for the best of Tavis Smiley. I'll see you then. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Northern California may feel aftershocks after an earthquake hit offshore near the California-Oregon state line. The quake prompted a tsunami warning, which has since expired. Investigators have released clear images of the suspect in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Mayor Eric Adams expects an arrest soon. Lawmakers are questioning the Secret Service about the July 13th assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. One person was killed and Trump and 2 others were wounded. Acting Director Ronald Rose stated that disciplinary actions are ongoing. And a new study in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry links lead in gasoline to mental health disorders. It examined blood lead levels in children from 1940 to 2015, finding 151 million excess mental health disorders due to lead exposure from car exhaust. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, owner at Blindster.com. And right now, we're offering up to 50% off all our custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters during our Cyber Week sale. Don't miss out on some incredible deals. But hurry, sale ends December 10th. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There's a good chance today we will learn a lot about the Lakers and what type of season they will have. We also might learn that first-time coach J.J. Redick is in over his head trying to coach the Lakers without any previous coaching experience. The Lakers are in Atlanta today to wrap up a 4-game road trip. A lot of folks will be tuning in to see if the Lakers have the mental toughness to overcome back-to-back blowout losses magnified by a 41-point rout at Miami Wednesday night. After the Miami loss, Redick said his players did not play with intensity and lacked professionalism. Those two intangibles need to be seen today. Otherwise, the haters who couldn't believe Redick got the job in the first place will start making noise again. Part of Redick's job description as an NBA head coach is to make sure his players play with intensity